Good afternoon, Sakelanders. How are you? We trust that you are well. This story comes from the 4th of July, and I could have sworn that I made a video about it, but I might be imagining it. Nevertheless, the theme is as germane now as it was then, even if the plot is not quite as topical, although I would put it to you that it does remain as topical. This is from the liars at News24.com Finance. And it's written, as I said, on the 4th of July by Anthony Squatson. It's a very interesting name if you ask me. Alberto Nardelli and Megan Durison. Anthony's SG, not SQ. Squatzin. Nice name. Interesting. SA conspiracy communities targeted, mind you, by Putin propaganda against global famine criticism. Russian diplomats are pushing the narrative that sanctions, rather than Russian blockades, are causing shortages of grains and fertilizer in Africa. Russian embassy officials across Africa are also placing the blame for the famine crisis on the West. A think tank that analyzes online disinformation said online conspiracy communities in South Africa have also been targeted by propaganda. European governments have been alarmed by a Russian disinformation campaign that seeks to deflect criticism that Vladimir Putin's war with Ukraine risks leaving millions of people in Africa facing famine. Russian diplomats have gone on a media offensive in recent months to push the narrative that sanctions, rather than Russian blockades, are causing shortages of grains and fertilizer in Africa. The public relations onslaught shows how the months-long war in Ukraine is becoming a global propaganda battle as food, fuel, and crop nutrient prices surge. Now, they go on, they waffle, as they do. I put it to you that they are referring to Sakelanders. The reason I say that is not because we are the be-all and the end-all, we Sakelanders, but because I can't imagine another coherent organization, some affiliation of a sort, people affiliated to one another in an organization or a group or a belief or a whatever, that may have done as much to promote the idea that they're against, in other words, to promote the idea that this is not Putin's fault, as Sakelanders has, even in the absence of, it's not like we've done hundreds of videos on the subject. Even in the absence of a series of videos, or many videos, I think that it's fair to say that our WhatsApp groups, my WhatsApp groups, for those of you who don't know, who are watching your first video, I run 3 WhatsApp groups. One communicates only with foreigners. So Sakelanders foreign friends. People in parliaments, in wherever. Ordinary people, you name it. Quite a nice, tight, small, good group of good friends. Then another group, which is for sponsors and Mr. Miller's sort of inner circle. And then a third group for Sakelanders leaders. The Executive Council, the Onderleidersraad, provincial leaders, sector commanders, who am I forgetting, national leaders, And yeah, we've, I think, done a very good job of pushing through those channels, particularly the two groups that are South African, pushing through those channels, using those channels as vectors to the outside world. The far more truthful narrative than these punks are sharing, namely, that the fertilizer shortages began in March of 2021, and by December 2021, fertilizer for irrigated crop farmers on the Orange River had almost doubled from 8,000 over a year period, we're talking year on year, so in December of 2021, compared to 2020, before there were any dramas in March of 2021, or before the dramas really got traction, had almost doubled from 8,000 and something rand a ton to 14,600 a ton. And just by the way, 5 days ago, I met a local farmer. I asked him if I could have a serious chat with him about this stuff so that I don't mess up, so that I'm well informed, so that Satelanders is on the cutting edge of knowing and understanding this problem as well as possible as laymen. And he told me that it has gotten far, far, far worse. So much so that I'm loath to share the numbers that he gave me, because they're just too dramatic. So let's give it a bit of a chance to mature and evolve before we start shouting from the rooftops. Where were we? So this thing has come from March of last year. It is now 18 months old. In March of last year, we started hearing that there was something very, very wrong in the world of fertilizer supplies. Then, right throughout the later part of 2021 and right throughout 2022, we've heard ongoing stories about fertilizer factories being burned down all over the world, including some of the very biggest in the world. And we know that Vladimir Putin said there is no blockade. The mines that are there are Ukrainian mines. If you say we can't send grain ships, or for that matter, to the point, fertilizer bulk carriers to Odessa to pick up fertilizer, it's because of Ukrainian mines. Come and have a look. They mined those waters. For better or for worse, it's not the point. The point is that it's their mines, so stop pointing fingers at us. Then Vladimir Putin lifted the non-existent blockade. He said, right now, formally, once and for all, we are blockading nothing. You may come and go freely. Don't take chances with ships full of weapons and things like that, but you want to pick up that? By all means. There, key 7. Key 7, you see, key, left, right, port, starboard, 27 degrees, full power, aft, slip in over there, we'll fill you up. Throw your hawsers onto the bollards. Pull you nice and tight. Get you up close to the cranes and the grain silos and the grain elevators. It is exactly the opposite of what these people are saying. We almost certainly are the target of that, or more the target as a coherent entity than anybody else can claim to be. There may be, for all I know, 1,000 or 10,000 people out there who are pushing the same narrative as us, but I'm astonished that I haven't come across them. So when they talk about conspiracy theorists, there may be a handful of individuals out there. There's certainly no organization. If it's anybody, it's Satelanders. And I'm telling you that is a rank lie of the first order. It is implicit throughout that thing is deceit, dishonesty, duplicity, deviousness, man. Western governments are alarmed. Western governments are alarmed. Your fertilizer, what is the right word? Factories, warehouses have been for a year and a half burned down left, right, and centre. You look the world in the eyes blankly as if there's nothing. What? Huh? Hey, don't say that. Whoa, they're lying. How do you allow? There's a word in Afrikaans that I can't translate. Maybe I should just do it right here and now. I hope I'm not wasting your time. But I want to use the Afrikaans word because it's better than any word that I can think of in English. Let's see what's the closest equivalent in English. I want to use the word aanleg. G-H-I-J-K-L. Plant. Fertilizer plants. Yeah, that is the being burned down left, right, and center. Do you hear the European Union? Do you hear the French? Do you hear the Germans shrieking about all of these plants? Clearly, there is an arson conspiracy. Clearly, it's clear. There's no point denying it. There's no way that it's accidental coincidence. Doesn't it, you liberals who watch this video, who hate me with the burning passion of the fire of 1,000 suns, or the fires of 1,000 suns, even you, surely it must worry you that all of these diesel plants and these fertilizer plants and these food storage plants and food processing plants all over Western Europe and North America are being incinerated in numbers that the world has never known before, and have been since long prior to the Russian invasion or the Russian entry into the Donbass on Thursday, the 24th of February 2022, for a year prior. And then since then, more dramatically, and best of all, nobody's suggesting that it's the Russians. Therefore, you must know it's definitely not the Russians. Because the Western Europeans, the NATOites, the North Americans would gladly have leaped upon any opportunity to blame the Russians, if there was the faintest possibility that they could have done so. The fact that they haven't said a word should be for you compelling proof that it's most certainly not the Russians. So who is it? Because what it's not is accidental coincidence. You must know that, even if you hate me, even if you hate Suidlanders, you must surely be able to see that this is something sinister, a conspiracy of a sort. And that News24 will run. You cannot. I'm telling you, next year, there's going to be a global food shortage. And I, Simon Roche, am going to laugh. In the same way that many of us have laughed in recent months at sudden adult death syndrome. Not because we hate people. We do this because we are patriotic and nationalistic. Because we have an instinctive love for family, clan, nation, race, identity, and culture that others don't have. Because we have that preference and bias, So the laughter is not born of hatred. It is born of the idea that you could be exposed to so much fact, so much truth, so much honesty, so much heartfelt information given from the heart, and sneer at it, dismiss it haughtily. And then suffer the consequences. What do you want? What would you like? You mock us. You ostracize us. You humiliate us. You attack us from all sides. When you go hungry next year, we're going to laugh. Not out of hatred, because it is demonstrable that that's not who we are. We are the ones who love what is ours. We love you, but we're going to laugh at you. How did you fall for this, man? But I'll give you a piece of advice in genuine sincerity. Really. You can buy 100 kilograms of rice, which will last one person will last you a year. Will give you a large portion of rice a day for over a year. You can buy 100 kilograms of rice for roughly 1,500 rand. You can call it 2,000 rand. I know 2,000 rand doesn't grow on trees, but 2,000 rand is 2 nights rockabilly jawling in the northern suburbs of Johannesburg. You know it, I know it. It's one smart haircut, perm, tint, what. It's a half a pair of shoes. You can buy rice for 20 rand a kilogram or less. You can really get good quality rice from the Oriental Plaza for 15, 16 rand a kilogram. And even though you are my worst enemy, second worst enemy, my worst enemy is the traitors within. Even though you are my second worst enemy, I say to you, because I love you. I just do. My people, get yourself 100 kgs of rice for the year that lies ahead of you. It's going to be rough. I'm not saying you must live on plain rice, but with a little bit of oil, tiny bit of oil, tiny bit of soy, and an egg, you can make egg fried rice. As just one example. You can eat rice day in and day out, once a day, in 100 different forms. I know it's not appealing, but I'm saying to you that this thing is so severe that 6 months from now, you're going to remember every single word I say in this video. Within 6 months of now, I'm not saying it's going to be terminally bad. We all look like Bobby Sands in the H block of the Maze prison. 40 days hunger strike. But I'm saying the words now will be poignant then, because it will be nearby, it will be imminent, it will be looming above. There is a global famine coming. It was brought on by a conspiracy that has bugger all to do with Vladimir Putin and the invasion of the four republics, the 2 republics in the Donbass and the 2 lower republics. Kherson and Luhansk. Just by the way, in case, you know, geography and all of that. The port of Odessa is to this day not occupied by the Russians and has not in the entire intervening period. Just saying. Just saying. And the Turks have granted free passage for all food, boats carrying food, fertilizer, and so on. Just saying. Hey, my angel stars. There's not much more that we can do for you. Wish you the best and sincerely pray that the God of your forefathers will bless and keep you in the time, the dim time that lies ahead of us. Take good care of yourselves. Buy some rice. It's nothing. 100 kgs. It was nothing. $1,500. You'll never, ever, ever regret it. Bye-bye.